Welcome, honor students. Today we are going to start the final section of chapter 13 called Changes of State. We begin with a case file study here on rainwater. Well, it's asking about what happens when a puddle dries up. That's actually a bigger picture. It's actually called the water cycle. And there are quite a number of cycles when we talk about science in general. There's the carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle, and the water cycle. So when you see a puddle and you come back a little while later and that puddle is dried up and gone, what happened to that water? Well, we had learned about evaporation earlier in one of our sections. Well, that's exactly what happened. The water overcame the attraction because the average kinetic energy was greater than the force of attraction and the atmospheric pressure on it, and it dissipated into the sky in a gaseous form. Well, as it goes up into the atmosphere, it actually begins to cool. And when it cools, it begins to condense. When you look up in the sky and you see clouds, that's what you're seeing is this water vapor that has condensed. Well, the next thing that happens is what you're well aware of is rain. Then it rains, it comes back to earth, and it comes back down, goes as groundwater, goes into underground estuaries, or just as runoff into lakes and streams. So the first thing we're going to talk about is sublimation. When can sublimation occur? It may be a new word to you, but you are actually familiar with this concept. So first off, let's get a definition. Sublimation. You want to get this term right here into your notes. So sublimation, the change of a substance from a solid to a vapor without passing through the liquid state. That is sublimation. So sublimation can occur because solids, like a liquid, have a vapor pressure. So think about this. So you're going to go from a solid state directly into a gaseous state without passing through the liquid phase. You are actually aware of that. Dry ice. You notice, and they use that in a lot of decor, you have this dry ice and it turns into this gaseous smoke-like substance. That is actually solid carbon dioxide leaving the solid state going directly into the gaseous state. So here's what happens. Sublimation occurs in solids that have a high vapor pressure. So we learned about vapor pressure in liquids. Well, solids have them too. So this solid's vapor pressure exceeds the atmospheric pressure that is on it based on the gases surrounding it. Therefore, it has the ability to leave the solid state and go into the vapor. So it is actually in a state of equilibrium. Solid to vapor, so we go from the solid state to the vapor state, and some of the vapor is depositing, so deposition is another key word there. So going from the vapor to the solid is deposition, going from solid to vapor is sublimation. So iodine, this is actually a demo that I had planned to do for you in class. So what happens is, and I'm just going to walk you through it, take some solid iodine crystals and then gently heat it. What happens is that solid iodine will go directly into the gaseous state. And what I would do is I would have this spot plate on top of the actual small beaker that I would use. So the gaseous form of that iodine would come up to that spot plate and it would condense and re-solidify. So I have it going from solid to gas and back to solid. And that is another substance that undergoes sublimation. So we have carbon dioxide and we have iodine as two examples of solids that undergo sublimation, meaning that their vapor pressure is higher than the atmospheric pressure. Sublimation has many useful applications. We talked about solid carbon dioxide. That's also known as dry ice. It is used to transport, actually, to keep things cold when there is not an option for a refrigerator. Because it sublimes, it doesn't produce the liquid state, so there's no mass. So it goes straight from solid to gas, and it doesn't melt and cause the cardboard or whatever is being shipped to have issues. So let's talk about this. Which of the following describes a solid undergoing sublimation? Let's look at this for a second here. Which one do you think it is? A, the vapor pressure exceeds the atmospheric pressure. Is it B, the vapor pressure equals the atmospheric pressure? C, the vapor pressure is less than the atmospheric pressure? Or D, the vapor pressure is less than half the atmospheric pressure? Well, hopefully you thought about this a second. It should be A, the vapor pressure exceeds the atmospheric pressure. And that is the correct response. So remember, you have a substance in the solid state whose vapor pressure exceeds the atmospheric pressure around it. So it will not go from solid to liquid to gas, as we're familiar with. It'll go from solid directly to the gaseous state. And then from the gaseous state back to the solid state in a process called sublimation and then deposition as it comes backwards. So it sublimes when it goes from solid to gas, and it's deposition when it goes from gas back to solid. Well, that's our lesson for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Go in peace.